after Micah Parsons wound up on the COVID list yesterday, he issued basically an apology on social media about he felt he let everyone down. Did he express similar sentiments to you in your conversations, or just his mood?
No, really, just the conversation was more about his health and taking care of things moving forward. So I mean, it's just part of the time that we're in. Actually, we had 2 more players test positive, Tyron Smith and Anthony Brown today. So it's just as you see it, we're doing the best we can to work through this, just like everybody else. But it's just part of the challenge that we're in right now.
And Mike, in light of this too, after Parsons went on the list, you had Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb were courtside at the Mavericks game last night. Did you have a problem with that? And will you, now that you're 9-10 days away from the postseason, will you reinforce that, hey, we've made it this far, we need to really lock down here, or what will your message be?
Yeah, we have basically a COVID update almost daily, and obviously as these protocols are changing and adjusting, and everybody understands what's been put out there from the league and the best recommendations possible. So I mean, that's a constant focus, and obviously we want everybody to use good judgment because we all understand what's in front of us and the challenge that we have, both personally and professionally.
Do you go out of your way and tell them not to go to games, or is that something that you guys can't do? And is it disappointing that that they were out there sitting courtside maskless on the same day that Micah tested positive and was out?
Well, like I said, this is something that goes on a regular basis. I was in a bunch of meetings this morning in regards to our team and the things that we need to do moving forward. So yeah, I mean, you want your players to use good judgment and take the precautions as you can, the best they can. So I think they clearly understand that this is a surge that we're involved with. Clearly not just with our football team and our community. So yeah, definitely keep identifying the importance and the urgency of taking precaution the best you can.
Mike, when you have players go on the list today, do you have a sense of if they should certainly be back by the playoffs next week? And is there any goal of testing guys this week in hopes of catching something earlier, given the timing of the playoffs?
I mean, I'm sure we're just like everybody else. It's a daily conversation. My first stop every morning is with Jim Maurer in his office. So, and there's testing that's going on. I mean, there's a number of guys, frankly, that are sick, but it's not. They have not tested positive. So I think part of that too is the time of year that we're in. I think clearly. I know my experience is when you're in this January month, regardless of where you live, particularly when you have weather pattern changes that we've had significant weather challenges or changes, particularly how we're swimming on Christmas Day, for God's sakes, but and then now it's getting cold and back and forth. I think this is the normal flu season, and the other things that are out there, we're also dealing with that.
All right. Mike, are you almost in a situation with some of these things with your players? You can't control what they do, but you also want them to be safe at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think just like anything, you have parameters, and you have, education is the best source. We're all adults here. Our players have done an outstanding job of the family and friend testing that's been available. So that's something that's really been in place, has really picked up over the last 6 weeks. So I mean, those are the things that I'm a part of on a daily basis. So I mean, you're seeing precautions, you're seeing the group as a whole doing a really good job. And yes, we may have an individual or two that puts himself out there, but but at the end of the day, I think it's like anything. You just continue to advise and instruct and educate. That's how you have to work through this COVID challenge, and that's what we've been doing.
Which guys are the ones who won't be around today because of their symptoms, even though they haven't tested positive?
Still working through that. So that's actually why I was a little late getting here today. So we got a couple guys that we're looking at. But right now we have Tyron and Anthony are the two names we released.
Does this evolving situation at all change the usage plan as it relates to players in terms of, guys starting and playing on Saturday night?
I hope not. That would be the goal. We had a plan at the beginning of the week of how we wanted to play this game. So, as of this exact moment, we're still on that same course. So, but obviously we understand what's in front of us before we get on that plane to go to Philadelphia.
David Hellman.
Hey, Mike, I was just curious what you thought of what Blake Jarwin was able to do in practice yesterday.
Thought Blake had a nice day. I mean, really coming off of Saturday. I know I spoke on that, but I think he's put together 2 really good days. I mean, it's exciting. Saw him this morning. A little sore from yesterday, so that's to be expected. But I know he felt really good. And just going off his comment, don't watch me walk, watch me run. So he's definitely running a lot better than he's walking. So, but I thought he looked good yesterday. So we'll see what today brings. Obviously, there's not a whole lot, but tomorrow will be a big day for him. So we're going to try to give him as much as we can tomorrow to see if he'll be ready to go.
Not to oversimplify it, but it seems like him and Dalton have fairly similar skill sets. What is having those 2 guys available in 12 personnel, what does that do for your offense, having them together?
Well, I think just what you brought up, 12 personnel. I mean, just the fact that we could maybe do more of it. I think this, when you have 2 tight ends that can do, really good things in space and have, matchup challenges, it gives you the flexibility to play more 12 concepts that you normally play in 11. So, but also create, an 8-gap run surface for defense to defend. So, I mean, that's to me is always the beauty of 12 versus 11, because, you can get into all your 1-back and no-back schemes easily in 12, but you still have your 2-back and your 8-9 hole gap challenges to a defense as far as how you want to run the ball.
Ed Werder.
Mike, do you assume at this point that Micah won't be able to play? And if that's the case, how challenging is it to replace him given the versatility that he brings to the various positions he plays?
Well, I mean, yeah, Micah will not play in the game. That's clear. He will not make the trip to Philadelphia, and obviously, I think, the impact that he's made is very evident. But like anything, this is opportunities for others, and I know our guys. Once the 48 is declared, they'll be ready to go. And like anything in this league, it's all about opportunities. And so, we'll go to whatever direction we need to go.
Mike, you've been very proactive with your COVID protocol, sometimes even instituting things before the league mandated anything to handle this. With Micah getting it now and Tyron and Anthony Brown, are you at doing some more things here? Will you go back to virtual? Are you going to put any other protocols in place, or how do you approach it from this point on?
I'll be honest with you, David. After the call that I was on 2 days ago, I don't know how much more there is you can do, and basically the aggressiveness and how contagious this strand is. Also I'm a family man. I have children. And have an understand what's going on in the school systems and what's going on around us, outside of our organization. So this is a very contagious time right now. I mean, this is a surge that's going on, throughout our community and frankly throughout our country. So, we just got to keep, staying true to. I mean, the players have done an outstanding job of wearing masks, and we're social distancing, so we're doing the things, really we're in the same format that we were in last year, but I think it's clearly much better than last year because we have the education and the experience of last year. So, we are taking the steps, but we're dealing with a different virus strand that seems to be a lot more contagious, is my understanding from the information that in the conversations I've been a part of. So we just got to continue to do the best we can and be proactive as we can. And and as a whole, it's not, we're not perfect, but I think our guys have done a good job.
Do you sense any fatigue on their part, or do you feel that they're still committed to this and handling it as, just to get through, because you're so close to the goal of the postseason and starting that?
Did you say, do I think there's fatigue? Yeah, I didn't hear the first part of your question.
Yeah. Do you sense any fatigue for them, just tired of going through this, or they adopted it and say, well, this is just something we have to do here to get to where we want to go?
Well, I think it's an excellent question because, it's really part of a conversation. One of the conversations I was a part of earlier, because, you come off of a Sunday national game, obviously a hard-fought contest, and then you get flipped into a 6-day week, where you have to, and you don't really truly find out about it till Sunday night. So, I mean, there is definitely some fatigue. The energy was not quite what you'd like it to be, but it's understandable because, it's really Thursday on their clocks, but we're in a Friday mode. So that's definitely part of it. But yeah, we're all human here. I mean, we're dealing with this, and but in the same breath, we've committed since April to what's in front of us, and we still want to go to Philadelphia, win this game, and be undefeated in the division, and see what happens, on Sunday. I mean, that's the clear-cut part of it, and I think the fact that we'll have Sunday to charge our batteries, I think will benefit our team very much so. So I think schedule-wise, what's in front of us, is helpful. Just because we will have that extra day to separate from the regular season to the postseason, and I think there's definitely value in that, especially with everything that's going on.
With guys testing positive this late in the week, is there any concern about them being ready for the playoffs next week, or even or be able to practice before the end of the week?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding, obviously, they'll be ready by Tuesday or Wednesday, just based off of their symptoms and things like that. So, you have players that do have the ability to test in early. Watching the trends of all this, particularly the latest trends, I am confident that if we do have anybody today, tomorrow, or even Saturday night, that they'll be ready to go for the postseason game.
Indeed, last year, a number of guys, as well as coaching staff, I think, moved into the hotel. Are you encouraging players to move into the Omni to try to keep themselves safe before the playoffs or during the playoffs?
Definitely. I mean, that's been available for quite some time. It was reiterated again this week in the team meeting. We do have people that are in the Omni hotel, so that's definitely one of the resources that we have.
Mike, we talked with Randy Gregory yesterday about how sometimes he likes to talk a little bit with quarterbacks during the game. He said he thinks it's part of his game and that he likes to affect them mentally where he can't physically. In your experience coaching, how much do you think that does make an impact? And do you encourage guys to do it if it helps fire them up, or what's your philosophy on it?
Well, I think the obvious too. It goes both ways. I've had quarterbacks, particularly one quarterback that spends a lot of time talking to the defensive guys too, and felt strongly that it benefited him and what he was trying to accomplish. So, I think it's all part of the contest. It's all part of the game. It's whatever category you want to put it under. Psychological warfare or trash talking. So, but yeah, I think it's definitely part of the contest. It's part of the competitive arena that we all look forward to every Sunday.
And several of your guys on offense have talked about how they feel like the offense still hasn't hit its peak. What do you think this offensive peak looks like, and what are you missing to get there?
Numbers are important, but really, my goal all along has been for this team to be a complementary football team, and I think when you do have a commitment, sometimes doesn't always equate to the best numbers. Trust me, we want to be better in every situation. We're always working towards that. Whether it's red zone, third down, and so forth. But and I've stated again. I'll state it again. Running the football is important, not only to the offense, but it's important to the whole football team. So just staying in tune with those things is what's most important. And I think it's just like anything. When you do have explosive moments, and you put up numbers the way that we have, there's an expectation, and that's great because we have the same expectations. But our perspective is, what's going to put us in the best position to win, and to win Saturday night against Philadelphia. You're talking about the number one run offense in the league. So that's they have the same type of mentality because obviously running the football as effectively as they have is the time of possession is a big weapon for them, and it definitely helps their defense. So I think just keeping things in perspective. I think the fact that we can score points is something that I'm encouraged and excited about because over the course of 16 games we've scored a lot of points, and that's reflected in our rankings. So I don't lose sight of that. I understand it's we have the opportunity and the collaboration in this fine setting that we're in today, as far as, convenient criticism through statistics. It's a game I enjoy playing every day when I walk in here, but, that's part of it. But our focus is on, the little things, like last week, you're going to have penalties. We don't want penalties. We work hard at penalties, but third down penalties are, that's the worst down to get a penalty on. So just staying in tune with that. So, just continue to work. This bunch's work ethic is outstanding, and, we'll ride that as far as we can go. But we're always working to get better.
Josh Ball was in the middle of his 21-day practice window when he contracted COVID. Does that solidify that this is going to be a redshirt year for him, in your view?
My understanding is because he's, COVID protocol this week, that his third week will be extended to the postseason. So we'll continue to evaluate that with Josh.
How has he looked overall, just for a guy who hasn't?
He's looked good. We wish we'd have more padded work. That was part of the timing. My plan was to be in pads this week, so we had planned on having a padded Thursday this week, but going to a 6-day schedule that was erased, and on top of it he had COVID too. So he's definitely healthy. He's done a really good job in the weight room and the training part of it. So he's a young player, needs reps.
We'll finish up here with Calvin.
How's Kelvin Joseph look with these extended snaps on the defensive side?
Thought he's done a really good job. I think it really started, in special teams. You look at his special teams work. He's put together a couple really good games, and I think having to play without preparation is always a nice hurdle. You like to see a young guy get over. It's one thing to get thrown in there on a Saturday or a Sunday, when without any prep, and I think that's a great experience that he now has in his wheelhouse. So, but now that he's had a chance to, get some reps, with Anthony now being out for the game, Anthony Brown. So, this will be a great opportunity for him, and love the way he competes. I think there's a couple times where, he had the one, now route that they smoke or whatever you guys call it. He was a little soft on the coverage and pre-snap, but just things like that to learn from. But I think he's been competitive these last 2 weeks, and hopefully he can build off it. Good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.